Have you ever stood in front of the mirror, not to fix your hair or check your outfit, but to ask yourself a much deeper question? Am I truly living wisely? It's a quiet, almost haunting question. Yet it carries the weight to transform your entire life. You see, wisdom isn't about flaunting your IQ, stacking up degrees, or impressing people with clever words. True wisdom, according to Stoic philosophy, reveals itself in the smallest, rawest moments, in how you respond when life knocks you down, how you treat others when no one's watching, and how you choose to shape your own character every single day. But what about foolishness? The Stoics made it crystal clear. Foolishness isn't simply about lacking intelligence. Instead, it's the stubborn refusal to live in harmony with reason, virtue, and self-awareness. Today, we're diving into a topic that might sting a little, yet it's exactly the kind of discomfort that can help us grow. This video isn't about pointing fingers or shaming anyone. It's an invitation, a gentle but firm nudge, to look inward, to question, and maybe, just maybe, to transform. Because, let's face it, we all have blind spots, and often, it's not the things we don't know that limit us most, but the truths we choose to ignore. So, are you ready to dig deeper? To break old patterns and see yourself through the timeless lens of Stoic wisdom? If so, you're in the perfect place. Let's walk this path together, and you might be surprised by what you uncover. Sign 1. Prioritizing appearance over character. Imagine this. You meet a woman who seems to have it all. Her makeup is flawless. Her wardrobe looks straight out of a fashion magazine, and her Instagram feed sparkles with carefully curated perfection. Every selfie radiates confidence, every outfit turns heads. At first glance, she appears unstoppable, almost untouchable. But pause. Look closer. Beyond the shimmering surface, there's a startling emptiness. Her days revolve around how she looks, not who she truly is. In Stoic philosophy, this obsession with external beauty is one of the most obvious signs of foolishness. Not because beauty is inherently bad, far from it, but because it becomes a shiny distraction from what genuinely matters. The Stoics taught that our true value isn't measured by what the eye can see, but by the purity of our soul, the resilience of our character, and the depth of our thoughts. As Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." In other words, it's your inner world, your virtues, your daily choices, your self-discipline, that truly define you. Physical beauty fades, style trends vanish, but character endures. Now, don't get me wrong. There's absolutely nothing wrong with caring for your appearance. Dressing well and presenting yourself with pride can be beautiful expressions of self-respect. But when you place your entire sense of worth on likes, compliments, and constant comparisons, you risk losing touch with the most authentic parts of yourself. Why is that dangerous? Because everything external is temporary. The glow of youth, the praise from strangers, the fleeting admiration, they can all disappear in a heartbeat. And when your identity is built on that fragile foundation, what remains when it all fades? Insecurity, envy, emptiness. The foolish woman desperately clings to what's fleeting. The wise woman, however, grounds her life in what lasts: patience, courage, integrity. The Stoics remind us again and again, true beauty is not about the mirror's reflection, but about how we show up in the world, how we persevere through challenges, and how we nurture the quiet strength within us. But the Stoics would ask us something far deeper. Are you nurturing your mind with wisdom? Are you strengthening your soul through daily discipline and unwavering virtue? Are you choosing kindness, honesty, and humility, even when no one is there to applaud you? Because in the end, that's what truly leaves a mark, not your perfect eyeliner, not your designer wardrobe, but the quiet power of your example. Think about it for a moment. Would you rather be remembered for how stunning you looked in a carefully edited photo, or for the way your courage, your insight, or your kindness transformed someone's life? When all your energy is funneled into chasing approval and polishing an image, you rob yourself of a much deeper fulfillment, the kind that doesn't crumble with age or vanish when trends shift, but instead grows richer and stronger as the years pass. So, how do we shift from surface-level obsession to genuine substance? Start with reflection. Ask yourself, what do I truly value? Am I becoming the kind of person I admire? When beauty inevitably fades, because it always will, what will remain? These are the kinds of soul-searching questions the Stoics would want us to sit with. They knew that chasing beauty without cultivating virtue is like polishing a shield, while neglecting the warrior holding it. Next time you find yourself endlessly scrolling through social media, comparing your looks, or obsessing over how people perceive you, take a deep breath and pause. Ask yourself the more important question: who am I becoming? Because, in the end, your outer image might grab attention for a moment, but it's your inner character that leaves a lasting impact and truly shapes lives. Sign 2. Ignoring self-responsibility's a quiet, almost uncomfortable truth that Stoicism insists upon. Your life is your responsibility. No shortcuts, no loopholes, no one else to blame. And yet, this might be the hardest lesson of all to accept. Isn't it so tempting to blame others when life doesn't go as planned? To think that our struggles exist because of our parents, our boss, our partner, society, or just plain bad luck. We might tell ourselves, if only people treated me better, if only the world were fairer, then I'd finally be happy. But here's the real problem with that mindset. It hands all your power to the outside world. The woman who refuses to take responsibility lives as a prisoner to her circumstances. She waits for life to magically change, for others to come and fix things, for fortune to smile at her. But while she waits, nothing truly changes, because growth can't even begin until ownership begins. The Stoics understood that we can't control everything that happens to us. Life is messy, unpredictable, and often feels unfair. But we do have complete control over how we respond. And in that response lies your ultimate freedom. In that response, true wisdom is born. Think of a woman who constantly complains about her job. Maybe her boss is unreasonable, the pay is terrible, the hours are draining. Those struggles might be very real. But ask yourself, is she doing anything? To improve her skills? Is she actively seeking new opportunities, shifting her mindset, or showing integrity and strength despite the obstacles? Or is she stuck in an endless loop of blame and frustration? Taking responsibility doesn't mean denying that life can be brutal or that hardships don't exist. It means refusing to let those hardships define who you are. When you stop blaming and start owning your decisions, even the small, daily ones, you take back the reins of your life. You move from being a passive victim to becoming the powerful creator of your own story. And that shift, subtle yet profound, can transform everything. Let's be honest, taking responsibility is far from easy. It demands courage. It demands facing yourself without excuses. Humility. It's such a simple word, yet it holds a world of power. Embracing humility means having the courage to admit that sometimes we are the architects of our own setbacks. It means acknowledging that our reactions, our habits, and our fears, not just the external circumstances, are quietly shaping the course of our lives every single day. And yet, that same discomfort that makes responsibility feel so heavy is exactly what makes it so liberating. Because the moment you fully accept your role in your own story, you gain something precious, the power to rewrite it. This journey isn't about chasing perfection. It's not about punishing yourself for every wrong turn or every slip-up. It's about being brutally honest, honest enough to ask yourself, what part did I play in this? What can I do differently next time? How can I grow from this challenge instead of shrinking away from it? A woman who embraces responsibility doesn't need life to hand her perfect circumstances. To find peace, she creates her own peace, day by day, through her mindset, her effort, and her willingness to learn from every experience. She doesn't hide from problems. She faces them head-on, knowing that each obstacle is a chance to forge an even stronger, wiser version of herself. So, the next time you catch yourself making excuses, shifting blame, or waiting for someone else to step in and fix your life, pause, take a deep breath, and remember, this is your life. No one else gets to live it for you. No one else is coming to rescue you. You hold the pen. You choose the next sentence. You decide whether this chapter becomes a powerful lesson or just another page filled with complaints. Responsibility isn't a heavy burden. It's your direct path to freedom. And the sooner you step onto it, the sooner you become the woman you were always meant to be. Sign 3. Overvaluing others' opinions in a world where approval feels like social currency. It's frighteningly easy to lose yourself in the endless quest to please everyone else. You post a picture, and before you even blink, you're checking who liked it. You share your thoughts, then immediately second-guess whether they sounded smart. Enough. You make a choice, and the first thing that pops into your mind is, what will they think? This is one of the most silent yet dangerous traps of modern life. Living as though your worth depends entirely on how others see you. According to the Stoics, this isn't just an emotional weight. It's a glaring sign of foolishness. Why? Because when your sense of self is built on the shaky foundation of other people's opinions, you're essentially building your identity on quicksand. You become like a leaf in the wind, drifting aimlessly wherever the breeze of approval happens to blow. The foolish woman constantly twists and molds herself to fit in, carefully filtering her words, her voice, and even her values just to avoid criticism or win praise. But in this endless shape-shifting, she loses something priceless, her true center. Now, let's be real. There's nothing inherently wrong with caring about what others think. We're social creatures, after all. But there's a crucial difference between being open to healthy feedback and becoming a slave to validation. When every decision is filtered through the question, how will I be perceived? You stop asking the questions that actually matter. Is this right for me? Does this align with who I truly want to become? Living purely for external approval isn't just draining. It's impossible to sustain. You'll never satisfy everyone. The more you try, the more fragmented and lost you become. You end up wearing different masks for different audiences until one day you look in the mirror and realize you no longer recognize the person staring back at you. And here's a harsh but liberating truth. Some people will misunderstand you. No matter how careful or gentle you are, some will judge you, envy you, dismiss you. That's not something you can fix. It's something you must learn to rise above. The Stoic path teaches us to measure our worth not by public applause, but by private integrity. Instead of asking, "What will they think? Did I act with wisdom? Did I stay true to my values?" These are the questions the Stoics would urge us to ask, questions that serve as a compass when the noise of the world grows deafening. Because when your inner compass is strong and unwavering, the opinions and judgments of the crowd begin to lose their grip on you. This kind of deep self-trust isn't something you wake up with one morning. It's not a gift. It's a practice, slowly built through thousands of small, deliberate choices each day. It means being okay with not being liked all the time. It means choosing truth over popularity, depth over surface-level performance, and authenticity over constant approval. So what should you do when that sneaky urge to seek validation starts creeping in? First, pause. Recognize the feeling without judging yourself for it. Then, gently guide your focus back inward and ask, if no one else knew about this decision, would I still make it? That one question slices through the noise like a sharp blade, cutting straight to the heart of what truly matters and bringing you back to clarity. And remember, some of the wisest, strongest women throughout history were misunderstood, even criticized in their time. Their courage, their independence, their refusal to shrink to fit others' expectations. These things unsettled people. But that's okay, because living wisely was never meant to be about winning universal approval. It's about being deeply and unshakably aligned within yourself. Your worth isn't something for others to debate, vote on, or validate. It's a quiet, unwavering truth to be lived patiently, consistently, and above all, courageously. So the next time you feel that urge to shrink yourself, to twist and bend just to fit into someone else's narrow mold, stop, take a breath, stand tall, and remind yourself, you weren't born to be everyone's idea of acceptable. You were born to be real. Sign for emotional instability and overreaction. We've all seen it. And let's be honest, most of us have lived it too. A small disagreement spirals into a full-blown shouting match. A simple misunderstanding morphs into simmering resentment that lingers for days. One rude comment from a stranger, one unexpected delay, and suddenly, the entire day feels ruined beyond repair. This is emotional instability. And to the Stoics, it's one of the clearest, most glaring signs of a foolish mind. The Stoics never believed we should suppress or erase our emotions. They understood that to be human is to feel deeply, to experience anger, sadness, joy, fear. But they also taught that true wisdom lies in not letting those emotions take the driver's seat of your life. The real difference between a wise woman and a foolish one isn't whether they feel emotions. It's in how they respond to them. A woman who is ruled by her emotions reacts before she thinks. She blurts out words she later wishes she could swallow. She makes impulsive decisions that ripple outwards, creating consequences she never saw coming. Her mood swings dictate the quality of her relationships, the stability of her work, and even her sense of inner peace. Worse still, she often points the finger outward, blaming others for making her feel that way, never realizing that the moment she let her emotions take control, she handed away her power entirely. Here's the hard, liberating truth the Stoics want us to face. No one else is responsible for how we choose to react. Life will throw curveballs. People will disappoint you. Plans will unravel. But none of these things can truly destroy your peace unless you hand them the keys and invite them in. When you let your emotions run wild, you've already surrendered your own well-being. But here's the good news. This isn't about cold suppression. It's about transformation. Emotional stability isn't a sign of coldness or indifference. It's a sign of immense courage. It's the strength to pause when provoked, the wisdom to breathe through frustration, and the clarity to choose your response instead of being yanked around by impulse. Ask yourself honestly, how often do I let one single moment of anger stain an entire day? How many times have I realized, in hindsight, that the real problem wasn't the situation itself, but the intensity of my reaction? Emotional instability doesn't just hurt you. It radiates outward. Like ripples in water, it pushes people away. It creates tension, seeds distrust, and breeds unnecessary drama. And over time, this emotional volatility doesn't just affect your immediate circle. It begins to shape your reputation. People might admire your beauty, your talents, or your intelligence. But if they feel like they're constantly tiptoeing around your unpredictable moods, they won't stick around for long. So how do we build true emotional strength? It starts with self-awareness. Learn to notice your triggers. Those small sparks that ignite big emotional fires. When you feel that wave of anger, jealousy, or panic rising, pause. Don't speak. Don't act. Just observe. This tiny moment of stillness is where your real power lives. Then ask yourself, is this reaction actually serving me? Is it worth sacrificing my inner peace? Am I responding with intention, or merely releasing my tension? More often than not, you'll realize the situation isn't nearly as urgent or dramatic as your emotions want you to believe. Another powerful shift. Focus only on what you can control. You can't control other people's actions. You can't always prevent setbacks or disappointments, but you can always choose how you show up, calm, grounded, and unshaken. That, the Stoics say, is the true ideal. Of course, there will be days when you slip, when your emotions overpower you, and that's okay. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Every single time you catch yourself and choose a different, wiser response, you're strengthening the muscle of emotional resilience. In a world that rewards loud reactions and fiery responses, calmness becomes a rare and luminous strength. So the next time life presses your buttons, don't ask, "How should I explode?" Instead, ask, "How can I stay rooted and grounded?" Because, in the end, the strongest woman isn't the one who controls everything around her. She's the one who knows how to control herself. Sign 5. Materialism and greed. No. Imagine a woman who seems to have it all. Designer handbags that sparkle under city lights. The latest sleek car turning heads on every street. A wardrobe that could rival a celebrity's. And a lifestyle that screams success at every angle. But look a little closer. More often than not, you'll find something missing. Not in her bank account, but deep within her spirit. This is the seductive trap of materialism, when your sense of worth is measured by what you own, rather than who you are. According to Stoic philosophy, this endless hunger for wealth, status, and possessions isn't a sign of achievement. It's a loud, clear sign of foolishness. Why? Because material things are inherently fleeting. They rust, they fade, they go out of style, or they can disappear overnight. The pursuit of them becomes an endless race with no true finish line. Satisfaction is always just beyond reach. The more you chase, the emptier you feel. That's the cruel irony. The woman who believes happiness is found in having more ends up perpetually feeling like she's never enough, never full. True wealth, the Stoics would argue, isn't about accumulation. It's about contentment. A truly rich life isn't cluttered with expensive things. It's filled with meaning, purpose, and a deep, unwavering inner peace. And none of those come with a price tag. But materialism today isn't always about shopping sprees or luxury cars. Sometimes it hides behind ambition. Maybe you're not obsessed with designer clothes, but instead, you're fixated on titles, promotions, or the constant need to appear successful. You think, if I can just reach that next milestone, then I'll finally feel good enough. But that finish line keeps moving further and further away. This kind of endless striving isn't true growth. It's a hunger that can never be satisfied. The Stoic path urges us to pause and question, am I chasing this because it aligns with my deepest values, or because I'm terrified of seeming small in the eyes of others? Breaking free from greed doesn't mean renouncing all comforts or living like a monk. It's about joy. It's about learning to value what truly matters, far beyond price tags and brand names. The Stoics embodied this through intentional simplicity. They would occasionally go without certain comforts, not to punish themselves, but to remind themselves that they were stronger than their cravings and desires. They trained their minds to find peace in having less and strength in the quiet art of self-restraint. You don't have to give up all your possessions or live in a bare room to embrace this mindset. But you can begin by gently shifting your focus. Ask yourself, what am I genuinely grateful for right now, without needing anything more? Am I buying this because it sparks real joy, or because I'm afraid of being left out or appearing small? Is this adding true meaning to my life, or just temporarily filling an emotional void? When you stop measuring your value by what you own and start anchoring it in who you are, something extraordinary happens. You feel lighter, freer, more deeply rooted in your essence, rather than in the objects decorating your life. And that's where true power lives. Not in the shiny things that fade and collect dust, but in the timeless values that define and guide you. So, if you find yourself constantly craving more clothes, more gadgets, more recognition, pause, turn your gaze inward, and remember, the richest life isn't built by accumulating endlessly. It's built by appreciating deeply, simplifying boldly, and choosing what aligns with your soul. Because at the end of the day, no one will remember the shoes you wore or the car you drove. They'll remember the warmth of your presence, the strength of your values, and the depth of your character. That's the kind of wealth that never fades. Sign 6. Avoiding self-reflection and growth among all the signs of foolishness. This one might be the most quietly destructive, the refusal to look inward. Without self-reflection, there can be no growth. And without growth, wisdom remains forever out of reach. It's so much easier to stay distracted than to sit alone with your thoughts. To scroll endlessly, binge-watch another series, or keep yourself perpetually busy. Also, you don't have to ask, am I truly living well? Am I becoming the person I want to be? A life without reflection is a life on autopilot. You might appear to be moving forward, new days, new tasks, but inside, you're stuck repeating the same patterns, reacting the same way, making the same painful choices, and then wondering why nothing ever really changes. Foolishness doesn't always shout. Sometimes it hides in the comfort of routine, in the quiet resistance to change, in the small daily choices to avoid discomfort. It shows up when you dodge feedback, dismiss mistakes, or tell yourself that growth is for other people, not for you. The Stoics taught that reflection isn't about drowning in guilt or harsh self-criticism. It's about realignment, looking at yourself honestly and using that awareness to live with deeper integrity. The wise woman doesn't fear her flaws. She faces them. She sees each mistake as a precious lesson, not a damning label. Each failure becomes an opportunity to improve, not a reason to give up. And self-reflection doesn't demand hours of meditation or a silent retreat in the mountains. It starts small, just a few quiet moments at the end of your day. Ask yourself, what did I do well today? Where did I act from fear instead of courage? If I could do today over again, what would I choose differently? It's about catching yourself in real time, pausing in the middle of a heated argument to ask, am I reacting out of habit, or responding with intention, or in the middle of an important decision, asking, does this reflect the person I truly want to become? Another powerful tool is seeking feedback, not the empty praise that flatters your ego, but the kind that challenges you. That comes from people who care enough to speak the uncomfortable truths you need to hear. Because remember, self-reflection isn't about perfection. It's about progress. The aim isn't to become flawless. It's to become more aware. Because awareness opens the door to choice, and choice is the foundation of real, lasting change. So if you've been running from self-reflection, now is the time to stop. Turn inward. Your next big breakthrough won't come from an external achievement or someone else's approval. It will come the moment you find the courage to look within. Sign 7. Talking more than listening. Off all the ways foolishness shows itself. This one might be the most deceptively simple. Talking more than listening. In a world that rewards volume, visibility, and constant broadcasting, silence is often mistaken for weakness. But to the Stoics, silence, intentional, thoughtful silence, is one of the purest signs of true wisdom. The foolish woman feels a constant urge to fill every quiet moment with her voice. She dominates discussions, interrupts others, offers unsolicited advice, and rarely stops to consider whether she's truly listening or just waiting impatiently for her turn to speak. Her identity is tangled up in being heard, not in hearing others. On the surface, this might look like confidence, a bold presence, a strong personality. But underneath, it often masks something more fragile: deep-seated insecurity, fear of being overlooked, or the false belief that power lies solely in speaking rather than in understanding. In truth, a woman who cannot listen is a woman who stops growing. She becomes locked inside her own echo chamber, endlessly recycling the same ideas, the same feelings, and the same unchallenged assumptions. There's no room to evolve, no space to stretch or transform. The Stoics taught that growth starts with humility, and humility begins with listening, not just nodding along, but deeply, actively listening. It means entering a conversation without the urge to dominate, correct, or impress. It's about being more interested in understanding than in being understood. And this isn't just about social etiquette. Listening is a mirror. It reflects your ability to quiet your ego and make room for something beyond yourself. When you truly listen to other people, to life itself, and even to your own quiet inner voice, you become more grounded, more discerning, and more present. You stop reacting on autopilot and start responding with intention. You stop assuming and start truly understanding. In contrast, the woman who always talks may command attention for a moment, but she ultimately loses connection. People might nod and smile politely, but inside, they feel unheard, dismissed, or even invisible. Over time, this creates emotional, relational, and even spiritual distance. Learning to listen well doesn't mean silencing your own voice. It means understanding when to speak and when to hold space for others. It means recognizing that not every moment needs your opinion, and not every silence is a gap to be urgently filled. Sometimes, the most powerful gift you can offer is simply your presence, your undivided, judgment-free, patient presence. So, how do you cultivate this kind of listening in everyday life? Start by noticing your impulses. When someone else is speaking, Are you already crafting your reply in your mind instead of truly hearing them? Do you interrupt or subtly steer the conversation back to yourself? Next time you feel the urge to jump in, pause and ask yourself, is this coming from a place of value or from a craving for validation? Another practical exercise: practice intentional silence. Sit with someone you trust and simply listen. Really listen, without trying to fix, advise, or outshine. Let their words land. Let their experience unfold and be fully heard. You might be surprised by just how much is revealed when you're not rushing to respond. And don't forget, listening isn't just something you offer others. It's something you owe yourself. But here's the catch: not listening to your insecurities or the endless chatter of self-doubt, but to that deeper, quieter voice within you, your intuition. True wisdom rarely announces itself with loud trumpets and flashing lights. It often arrives softly, like a gentle whisper, in the spaces we create when we stop talking and start truly paying attention. At its core, talking more than listening isn't just a social habit. It's a spiritual block. It keeps you disconnected from others, from truth, and most importantly, from your own highest potential. The woman who constantly talks might win attention in the moment, but the woman who listens deeply, she earns something far more valuable: respect, trust, and the quiet, steady growth of wisdom. So ask yourself, when was the last time I listened with my whole heart? When was the last time I chose silence? Not because I had nothing to say, but because I had something important to learn. Because in the stillness, truth speaks, and only those with truly wise hearts have ears that can hear it. In conclusion, the path to wisdom. So there you have it. 7 signs of a foolish woman, seen through the timeless lens of Stoic wisdom. This isn't about shaming or criticizing. It's an invitation, a gentle push toward self-reflection. True wisdom isn't about flawless perfection. It's about the courage to keep growing, no matter how uncomfortable that growth might feel. Each of these signs points to places where we might have drifted away from our values, lost sight of our center, or let old habits hold us back. But here's the beautiful truth: change begins the moment you become aware. It takes honesty to admit where you've fallen short and immense courage to choose a different, better path. You don't have to fix everything overnight. Even the smallest shift in thought, the tiniest act of self-awareness, is already a step toward a wiser, stronger, and more grounded life. So, take a deep breath. Be gentle with yourself and ask, which of these signs spoke to me the most? Where can I begin? If this video sparked something inside you, if it made you pause or reflect, I invite you to like this video, share it with someone who might need it, and write my reflection in the comments below. There's so much more to explore on this journey. Stay with it, because the woman who chooses wisdom, even when it's hard, is already becoming powerful in the truest, most radiant sense. Your next step awaits. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Stoic Capsule for more insights and stories that empower your mind and spirit. Together, let's keep growing wiser, one step at a time.